Okay, from San Jose, please welcome Tara.AI, Abi Masood. Ready to go?
Yep, I'm ready. Ready as I'll ever be, right?
Okay. I hope.
I'm here today to talk to you about a problem, a $260 billion problem. The software industry is adding $260 billion of value to the overall US economy. To keep up with that pace of growth, programming should be a medium open to anyone that qualifies. However, Silicon Valley continues to hire from the same demographic. Young, male, went to an Ivy League school. Meet Tara. Tara is a system that is essentially analyzing past open source code from these programmers and then continuing to assign them to projects at Fortune 500 companies. How it works is that it surfaces these programmers by only looking at their past code, not at other factors such as age, gender, or university pedigree. We're excited to be working with Fortune 500 companies already. Our enterprise customers are currently leading us to a $1.2 million in annual recurring revenue this year. And companies like Cisco, Orange Telecom, and Ford are seeing contractors get assigned in as little as 24 hours versus their typical 3-month recruiting cycle. We've already raised $2.1 million as a team of 13 mathematicians and machine learning engineers. And one of the things we're most excited about is our future impact in Buffalo. So just to give you an idea of our contractors, we have women, veterans, programmers from small towns that are currently making an income of anywhere between $50,000 to $125,000 annually. We have just over 20 enterprise companies today on our platform that are continuing to use Tara to hire for these contract positions. And with SUNY at the University at Buffalo, we're announcing 10 open positions in Q1 2018. Thank you so much.
Great job, great job, wonderful. Okay, who wants to kick it off? Melissa.
So I really respect and appreciate what you're trying to do in a sector that is clearly facing many isms. Talk to me about the type of jobs you're getting. It's unclear, are they core jobs, are they overflow jobs? Because I'm concerned that there could be somebody else who will come along, cut prices, and it'll be a rounding error for some of these large companies.
Yeah, so one of the, that was actually our first major concern when we launched this, because we found that when we were using this AI recruiting system for full-time positions, what happened was recruiters were still taking the candidates through their typical recruiting system. So unconscious biases were still occurring, and we weren't seeing any difference. So what we found was that if we opened this up to contract positions specifically, that could range from, typically they're full stack engineering positions that can relate to Ruby on Rails or several different types of languages. But what we're noticing is that we're not cannibalizing on existing full-time positions because these large companies are using us since we're also predicting their workflows. So what the Tara system does is that it also predicts their project scope, saving their project managers weeks of scoping work. So the resource allocation system is essentially a part of the end-to-end system. And so what we found was through this, we were able to get just over 450 programmers assigned to these positions at Fortune 500. Now they are contract positions, but the reason why we went with contract is, 50% of the US workforce is going to be freelancing by the year 2020. It is a trend that is only going to increase over time. And so not only did we want to capitalize on this trend, but make sure that these contractors were making sizable incomes through Tara.
Dave.
So look, on the face of this is tailor-made for Silicon Valley. Cognizant is up and down the valley in every shop that you could possibly think of. And every single PM, PUM, Eng lead that I can think of bitches about it. How come Silicon Valley didn't fund it?
They did. We have $2.1 million in investment.
So you're going to move to Buffalo?
yes, and one of the reasons why we want to move to Buffalo is because of the talent. So with a lot of our customers, they're actually based on the East Coast. And so we're excited to hire an enterprise sales team that is able to work East Coast hours. But not only that, if you look at our team itself, we're actually all from state-level universities. Some of us didn't even go to college. And so that's actually in our DNA. It's part of our pedigree. So when I first moved to America, I only got my green card last month, by the way. So I moved to America with about 5, thank you so much. And this was after submitting a 900-page application to prove my extraordinary ability. But you know, I think Buffalo is the heart of America. This is really what, and you know, with Silicon Valley, one of the things that frustrates us continuously is how people continue to hire and how people continue to assign for positions. But yeah, please.
Well, let me just drill a little bit more on that, because Dave's absolutely right. So, and with all due respect, you guys have done a great job. Just to get up here, to build a product, onboard customers is an extraordinary step forward. What you've missed, though, is that if you had figured out product market fit, you'd have $5 and $10 million term sheets coming out of your ears right now. So specifically, what are you going to do to close that gap and solve the product market fit if you're selected and get this money?
Well, firstly, $5 to $10 million term sheets, I'll be honest, I'm not someone that wants to be overcapitalized. This is just how I want to run my company. The $2.1 million that we raised, we closed it last month.
You're digging a bigger hole for yourself.
And we only closed it after being profitable. So, I mean, you know, raising a Series A, it's going to take a significant amount of time. And so right now, I want to focus on our customers, focus on making sure that we build a product that actually meets their needs, and then, you know, spend the 2 to 3 months to raise the Series A, because it's a significant amount of time. But on the $2.1 million that we raised, we have 22 months of runway.
So who's the customer? So my concern, I have a couple concerns. One, you keep throwing out, you know, how big of a size of the pool, 50% of the workforce, yeah, but they're not going to be developers. $200 or $360 billion, yes, but it's not all contract development. So I'm really having a hard time truly understanding size of market. If you could help me with that, just a little, the honest size of market, not just big numbers. And then the other thing is, who are you actually selling to? The HR hiring manager? I mean, like, who's the...
So we skip the HR hiring manager. What we do is we sell directly to the CIOs, as well as engineering managers and product managers, because they're the ones that have the hardest time scoping out the product, and that's really where most of the time is spent. So as soon as they see the kind of time savings that they have with the scoping engine, and then they see that within 24 hours these contractors can be assigned, then they see the value in the product. Now, to go back to your market size question, what we're competing against is the likes of Accenture, PwC, Deloitte. We just won a contract over Infosys. So the idea is, with these large outsourcing agencies, what typically happens is they're not doing any form of prediction. They give you an idea of how long the project will take, and typically the project goes 2x.
You can't be competing with them because they're managing the whole process too.
So, yeah.
Well, no, it was kind of related, which is that, you know, everyone talks about the gig economy, and it's happening for sure. But I think that there's a lack of courage of companies, and maybe this is a bit of advice, which is that my experience with companies like yours is that you charge too little. And that's one of the reasons why it's hard to raise money, and it's one of the reasons why it's hard to prove value to the big companies. You just have to go and charge a fair price, and I don't think you charge a fair price. Try it.
That's great advice, and it's actually advice that our investors have given to us as well. So just to give you an idea, when we first started, our average customer is spending about $15,000. As of last month, they're spending $75K, but now next month we're actually closing our first $250,000 contract.
But that proves Bonin's and Eric's and Toby's point. If you're getting $15,000 to $75,000 from Fortune 500 companies, you're not doing material work for them.
We're going to have to end it there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.